invest in silver. Silver is going to be the next gold for the future in the terms of pricing.
Huge premiums that are being charged for the delivery of physical silver, which I think will have a major correction in it.
Unique situation where prices go up, demand should come down, but your prices go up and demand goes up further.
The investment buying is like exorbitant, but the emotional buying is a little down.
This is the highest gold sale ever I have seen in my career from last 32 years.
Hello and welcome to this Dhanteras special. It's that time of the year when bullion counters glitter, jewelers see record footfall, and India reaffirms its timeless love for all things gold and silver. Since last Dhanteras, gold prices have surged more than 80% on the multi-commodity exchange, crossing 1.3 lakh rupees per 10 grams mark, while silver prices have doubled to hit 1.68 lakh rupees per kg. In the global markets, both the precious metals have jumped about 8% in this week. Gold is on track for its strongest weekly gain since March 2020. The rally has been fueled by strong safe haven demand amid global uncertainties like tariff pressures and expectations of another US Fed rate cut this month. Silver prices have been supported by tightening global supply as well. We are joined by Chirag Mehta, CIO at Quantum AMC, Philip Newman, MD of Metal Focus, Suvankar Sen, MD and CEO of Senco Gold and Diamonds, and Amrendra Vumidi, Managing Partner of Vumidi Bangaru Live Jewelers. Philip, to you first, and what's your sense of the kind of run-up that we have seen in case of gold prices standing at around $4,300 an ounce? Do you see further gains? People who bought gold in last Dhanteras and Diwali absolutely have made clean profits. Do you see more buying this time, and what is your outlook going forward?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me back on your show. From our point of view, even at these record prices and the fact, that gold has, over the past week, as you said, has just continued to march higher. We do think further gains are likely for this year and also into 2026. Whether it's a straight line up, I think that's a difficult one to call. I think you could have a correction, but even if there is a correction in the price, be it for gold or silver, from our point of view, we think that ought to be quickly bought into, and the rally would resume, we feel.
Philip, would you say that the prices can go higher from here? Because almost all banks and brokerages are putting out levels of $5,000 an ounce plus by end of 2026.
Well, it's incredible to look at these, to think of these prices beginning with a 5, let alone a 4. But of course, the market seems to be getting used to these prices quite quickly. And I think from our point of view, when we look at the factors that are driving gold, have done so far this year, all of those factors remain in place. And we think they will continue to remain in place next year. And yes, at the moment, from Metals Focus, our forecast does, we think that gold could potentially hit $5,000 before the end of 2026.
Very bullish cues coming in there, absolutely. So, Suvankar, how are you looking at the gold prices from currently where we trade? And are you also continuing to be bullish on the space?
Yes, in terms of, what we see with the consumer trends and the macroeconomic factors, there is a bullishness that gold prices will go up in the long run. And in the short term, if I look at the overall demand supply, last 7-10 days, we have seen a lot of consumers. The footfalls have gone up by almost 2.5-3 times. The wedding season is around the corner. So there is this huge interest amongst the consumer in order to buy. But if we look at the volume, then we are seeing that there is a substantial volume decrease, either because of the demand of lightweight jewelry, because the budgets are restricted and not being able to be met up in this high gold prices, or people also looking at diamond jewelry with lower caratage of 914. So there is a 15% approximately dip in terms of volume. So this supply and demand is where we need to look at. And obviously the price that has gone up in the last 1 month has been going up in a very fast pace which is a little bit of discomfort for consumers, for us as sellers, and a little bit of a correction will be very good, I think, for the industry, for the markets, and I'm sure consumers will rush in more to buy more gold and diamonds and silver if there is a little correction. But in the long run, we continue to remain bullish.
So, Anka, would you be as brave to put out some numbers there?
What kind of numbers in terms of the
gold price outlook?
See. If you look at the 4-5 years, growth of the gold, it has been around 15-20% year after year. So therefore, today we are at about 1,25,000, 1,30,000. So we can surely see in Indian rupees terms 1,50,000, 1,60,000 on the upside. And if you look at the corrections, that is more technical. Something is more of calculations and not really, we don't know what's going to happen. But a 10% correction from here is always something which is healthy for the market and for the commodity cycle. That's how one should look at it.
So wait for some corrections, but the longer term is still very, very bullish. Mr. Vumidi, what's your sense? How would you look at the gold prices? I want to get that discussion first out of the way. Your sense on gold prices going forward?
Yes, I think just like the rest of the panelists were saying, we also expect the gold price to go higher, where the geopolitical situations are helping it to drive. Normally, it used to be the gold prices from the consumer's end, but now it's the prices of the geopolitical reasons also, plus the consumer end, and then you have the rest of the funds also buying it. So I've been reading that some of the funds have been saying 15% allocation of their portfolio should be in gold. So all this is driving the prices higher. But as a consumer, people are confused a little bit. Every time there's a small dip, then people rush in, and then there's a little bit of a hike, again there's a slowdown, and sometimes the reverse happens. When there's a dip, they feel that it's going to come down some more, and then this is a cycle where people need to gain trust that prices of gold will go up.
Chirag, you perhaps are the happiest of the lot because the kind of ETF buying that we've seen in the month of August, and then of course it exploded in September. How is October looking, one? And what is your sense now for the gold prices from here?
Yes, absolutely, Manisha. I think we have seen a great buying in gold ETFs across. Last month was 8,300 crores, and I'll not be surprised if we cross that mark this month. Because even this week or week before, we are seeing flows continue into gold ETFs. So I think at some point in time, at somewhere, we think that there is a demarcation happening where the caratage or the volume of gold bought in jewelry form has been declining. And it's more to do with investors and consumers trying to demarcate why they are purchasing gold. Is it for consumption or is it for investment? And therefore, we are seeing the decline, choosing adaptable ways, more efficient ways to buying gold through gold ETFs and funds.
Philip, when you look at the Indian markets, we constantly see on how physical clearly is the place to be. While ETF seems to be surging, it still is a very small percentage. In the international markets, it's pretty different in that sense. How do you see your sense in Indian space now?
Well, I think, you touched on a few important points there. The fact that we are seeing in India, the investment upside, the strength is across different asset classes. You mentioned the ETF, and that continues to march higher. But also your other guests have spoken about, from a retail standpoint, in terms of the physical and the bar market. And it's just been quite fascinating, if we just focus on gold, that, we've been at record prices for some time in rupees, obviously. But that seems to be attracting buyers, and that hasn't slowed down at all, as far as I can gather. I think the interesting point from a jewelry standpoint, and again, it's also been touched on, that yes, we are seeing weakness from a volume point of view, but if you look at the declines, they're relatively modest, given what gold prices have been doing. And I think that's been absolutely encouraging as well. So you are seeing that the attraction of gold from an investment standpoint, be it ETFs, be it bars, or even jewelry as well. So I think all aspects from that point of view, I think, are quite encouraging. And we see that in other markets, especially in the retail bar space, be it in Europe, parts of East Asia. We've seen queues outside shops in Australia as well. So I think it's been quite fascinating how retail investors, not just in India, other jurisdictions, have been responding, I think, in quite a positive way to the prices that they're seeing as well.
Philip, so given the fact that gold is under-owned as a financial instrument, and with the prices rising as they are right now, with a lot of people perhaps FOMOing out, do you see demand continuing at these current levels as well? I mean, there's a concern that the prices would just go one way, and that's higher.
Well, you're right, and I think we've got to be quite careful because there's so much media attention, not just on the gold price where we are, and the fact that investors seem have adjusted or seemingly adjusted to these prices. But of course, we're talking about 4,500. You've already asked about 5,000 as well. I think on the other side of the market, on the recycling, the scrap side, that has also been relatively quiet as well. So you're not seeing that, I guess, downward pressure in the physical market that could potentially help to cap this rally. Now, of course, if, for argument's sake, Manisha, if gold was to hit, say, 4,500, what happens then? Do we see recycling come out in a very big way? Do we see retail investors booking profits? Or do they also adjust very quickly and expect yet higher prices? So I think the dynamics for now are working in favor of higher prices. But of course, especially from an institutional standpoint, which after all is where the real weight of money is, that is helping to push these prices higher.
Philip, if you had to choose between gold and silver, what is it going to be?
Goodness. Well, thankfully, we're not approved to give investment advice. I think, silver is really quite fascinating. The market, we're certainly seeing a bit of a squeeze at the moment. I think there's plenty of silver around. I think it's just a question of, is it in the right location that it can be lent out? And at the moment, that doesn't seem to be the case. So we'll see in the coming weeks if some of that tightness does ease, that may take a little bit of pressure off. But at the flip side, Manisha, if gold is going to continue to march higher, then I think silver is also likely to also strengthen further. We're comfortably above the $50 mark as we record this. And from our point of view, going into next year, if you've got gold potentially touching 5,000, then I think silver breaking through, say, $60 an ounce is potentially on the cards, I would suggest to you.
All right, so very, very bullish cues coming in case of gold and silver there, 5,000 for gold and $60 for silver. So if you are buying this Dhanteras, be assured, stay assured that your money is going to go much higher from here, as is the norm, as is the culture saying as well, that whatever you buy this Dhanteras and Diwali, it will always give you, multiply your wealth going forward. But gentlemen, with that, we'll go for a very short break. When we come back, we'll talk about on what are the demand trends really right now in case of India, this Dhanteras and Diwali. We'll ask our experts. Welcome back, and we're talking about Dhanteras special and gold and silver prices at all-time highs ever that you have seen during festivities or in any year for that matter. So, Ankar, the way the prices have been moving, where do you see a better demand coming in for? Is it going to be bullion? Is it going to be jewelry? Is it 22 carats? Is it diamonds? What really are the trends that you are reading?
So see, bullion for us has always been about 5 to 6% of the overall business. But what we see in the last, I would say, 15 days or 25 days, this 5 to 6% share of the sales has gone up to about 9 to 10%. So that's the kind of inquiry and interest in terms of the bullion bars and coins that we are seeing in gold and as well as in silver. But when it comes to the jewelry aspect of it, see, 22 carat gold jewelry has always been about 80 to 85% of the share of the sales. But what we are seeing here is that people are overall looking at jewelry which is within the budget, where a 10-15% reduction in terms of either weight or in certain modern design, trendy designs, people are looking at 18 karat gold jewelry or 14 karat, 9 karat diamond jewelry as something that will fit in the budget for everyday wear and daily wear. So we as jewelers need to be conscious of having the right kind of product within the budget of the consumers. Silver also is something that has picked up not only in terms of utensils and the traditional products, but silver jewelry has also come up in a big way as a gift item and something that people will aspire to buy or gift. And we are seeing a lot of inquiry, but those are smaller ticket size. The bigger aspect that we all need to look at is the wedding jewelry segment, and we have so many weddings around the corner in November, December, and January, and I think that is something we are looking at, and we are trying to fulfill the demand of the consumer, fit into their budget. And old gold exchange, that is a big trend. Almost 45 to 50% of the transactions happening on an average is where customers are coming with their old gold and exchanging for it. So that is something that with no deduction and best benefits passed on to the consumer, they are being able to cope up with this high gold price. So this is the overall scenario that we are seeing in the market.
Mr. Mumidi, what's your sense really? I mean, is it pure gold jewelry that people are asking for, or is it studded diamonds? Because those prices have been kind of stable, even a decline from its kind of highs.
Yeah, there's a good demand even for diamond jewelry though. The people who are buying around 2 to 3 lakhs of gold jewelry now feel that the size of the jewelry is much smaller. So they prefer to buy diamond jewelry instead. So diamond jewelry always is an upgrade for anybody who's been always buying gold. So there's this huge mix in what's actually happening right now. People are buying gold or buying diamond. People who are always been a gold consumer are buying a lot more gold. People are also buying silver jewelry. The trust in gold and silver is at all-time high. And Dhanteras is a traditional way of SIP. So every year, people buy some amount of gold and silver. This has been for so many years that this is what has been happening. So I think coming back to our tradition, coming back to what our forefathers have been doing and taught us is a great advantage for us. And the market has been very positive. And despite of all the hikes, the demand has gone down only by maybe 10 to 15%. So this is just goes to prove that that the people have confidence in gold and silver.
Oh, yes. And the other thing is that people would buy, even if in tokens. So there's so much to opt out from right now. There's gold and silver and platinum, which is gained up by 85%. And then there is diamonds, and lab-grown diamonds seem to have really made a very strong bullish entry as well. So people have a lot to choose from into this sense. But Chirag, ETFs, and coming back to you on that one, gold and silver, what is it going to be this time around? And a question that I was trying to pose to you earlier, how much is the overall ETF as a market share of total buying that India does in sense of gold and silver? Is it 5%, 8%? Is it increasing?
I think it was very, very small until last year. But this year, we are seeing that trend change significantly. Still, it is small in the overall context. We import around 700 tons or 750 tons of gold a year, out of which all ETFs combined today are just about 80 tons so far they have been in existence. So I think that's increasing, which was about half last year, about 40, 50 tons, has now gone to about 80 odd tons. So I think the traction is there and it's building on this year. So if I look at this month, the month of Diwali, to the run up to Diwali, the volumes that we have seen or inflows that we have seen is 2.5 to 3x of what we saw last year. So I think it clearly tells you that, there is a lot of traction happening in gold ETFs overall and gold funds. So we think there is a lot of participation increasing. Like last month, 8,300 crores came on back of 6 lakh new investors coming into gold ETFs alone. Let gold funds be aside. So there is a lot of participation increasing, and we did one study in terms of if one would have invested in gold for last 20 years, every Dhanteras, they would have invested 20 lakh rupees in total, and that number would have become about close to 1.1 crore if that Dhanteras SIP continued. So these elements, plus the fact that when equity markets suffer, gold helps from a diversification standpoint, and that is leading people to increase their allocation to gold through gold ETFs. So what used to be a 2 to 5% allocation to gold now has become a consensus in terms of 10 to 15% allocation. So many of them from that context, or be it even from 2 to 5%, are under allocated, and therefore they are increasing their allocation of the portfolio to gold, and gold ETFs has been the choice of vehicle that they have taken to increase their allocation to gold. So we think that this trend of diversification of reserves at the central bank level and gold in terms of portfolio allocation of investments is going to continue, and we'll see that build up happening this year and next year.
The one thing that I have missed really is platinum. So, Vankar, you want to comment on that? Because that sales also seem to be increasing, is what Platinum Guild of India tells us.
Yes, you're correct, because platinum has also increased in terms of price. And the funny thing is that platinum is rarer than gold or silver. And the use of platinum, if you really look at it, if you compare it with silver, the way it is used for aerospace and EVs and the solar power and energy, it is as much as it's silver. It's more rare and more precious. And that was always almost half the price that of gold. And we could see that a lot of men's jewelry that were being in demand for platinum, bracelets and chains. And now it has started gaining traction. It's moved up by 75-80% in the last 1-2 months. And I think that consumers are also looking at that as an option. So a combination of platinum with gold is something that is trending in for men's jewelry or for the everyday wear women's jewelry as well. So that's been, that's exciting space as well.
Oh, yes, there's just so much to choose from. And the last 1 year has given stupendous returns to anybody who bought gold, silver, platinum, any of those in the previous year. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining in. Suvankar, Chirag, Mr. Mahmoodi and Philip as well for taking time out today. I'm wishing you a very, very happy Dhanteras and a very prosperous Diwali this time.